yo, put me in the game, coach. I knock it down at the buzzer, like my name go. MJ fadeaway, ayy. I'm a game closer. Pull up in that blacked out truck, like my name Ghost. Hit him with that fist pump, I just won the game, yo. I make a champagne ghost.
Boom, 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 bam. Welcome back to the Great Debate Show. Or if it's your first time, welcome to the Great Debate Show. I'm your favorite Uncle JJ. And as always, I got something to say. And today I want to talk about last night's Monday Night Football game. Well, what is there to say? Last night we did the Monday Night Raw live stream immediately, or the post show, immediately after Raw finished on Netflix. And I gave you a quick halftime report. And actually, I did that Raw post show up until the fourth quarter. We got into the fourth quarter. I wrapped up the show. I finished watching the game. Didn't come back to do it, but I figured, hey, not a whole lot to talk about today on a Tuesday. So we'll talk about it not a whole lot to talk about on a Tuesday. So we'll save Monday Night Football review. Not review, damn it. Yeah, review, the recap. I said, you know what? Let's do that today. And a few wrestling notes that I want to go over and give you, and that'll be pretty much it. But again, this is a recurring issue now for the Baltimore Ravens. They either lose large leads or they struggle defending the opponent's offense, where they can't get away from the opponent because, well, they don't get enough stops. And last night, the Detroit Lions did not really punt that much, maybe twice out of the whole night. They had drives as long as 98.5 yards, 95-yard drives. Does anyone still think the Detroit Lions are going to struggle this season without their OC, their former offensive coordinator, and their former defensive coordinator? I think not. Ben Johnson is the head coach of the Bears. Aaron Glenn is the head coach of the New York Jets. And as I said during the offseason, as much as I respect those two assistant coaches, it's not like Ben Johnson can take the Detroit Lions with him to Chicago. All right? It's gonna take a little time for him to get the Bears to what the Lions already are. And that team in Detroit is too stacked for me to say that, yeah, they're gonna have a down year. They're gonna regress. Regress my ass. And this is why we don't overreact after 1 week, 2 weeks, hell, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Not trying to sound like LeBron James when I say that. I'm just saying that everyone put the Packers in the Super Bowl after their first 2 games. And after the first Detroit Lions game, everyone said the Detroit Lions are cooked. That offensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing. That defensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing. Last night they went up against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Now, I said Derrick Henry, not King Henry, because right now we may need to remove that title from his name, because Kings don't fumble the ball every game of the season. In 3 weeks, 3 games, Derrick Henry has 3 fumbles. So I won't call him King Henry today. I know it's an issue that he's probably going to clean up, but he does need to watch that. It looks like the ball is loose, kind of. They do it every time. It seems like in the fourth quarter, when the game is becoming to be crucial and on the line and somebody needs a stop, that's how they get their stop. Because it's almost impossible to stop Lamar Jackson and this Baltimore Raven offense. They were cooking too. It's just that they didn't cook enough because the Detroit Lions didn't give, there was no room for error. If you punted once, you were screwed. You needed to score every single possession, mainly a touchdown instead of a field goal. I think they're seeing something on the film, and Derrick Henry needs to look at that. The Ravens need to look at that because they do it at the same time every time. Buffalo did it. They say he fumbled last week in against Cleveland, and I didn't watch that game, and he did it again last night. 3 fumbles in 3 games, that's a problem. It's almost like they see something, and everybody's pinpointing it, and they go right to it when it matters. That's got to stop. But why is it coming down to, hey, you fumbled, we lost? It shouldn't come down to just a turnover. The offense is doing good. What's the problem? The defense is bad. And the defense is bad enough to where the offense can't punt. They can't turn the ball over. It has to be touchdown, 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 at least a field goal. And yeah, you're not going to win a lot of shootouts like that. Not against teams like the Detroit Lions. So I'm not worried about the Ravens, though, at 1-2. However, they got the Kansas City Chiefs who are coming into town, or they're going to Kansas City, I mean. And they're both 1-2, and they're both desperate for a win. At the end of next week, we could, unless it's a tie, we could see both teams. I mean, one of these teams are going to be 1-3. Never really would have imagined that on paper when you watch the schedule. You would have thought, well, one of them are going to go 2-1. Somebody has to lose more than likely, but you didn't think that after week 4, we'd be saying one of those teams are 1-3. That's what's going to happen. And I don't even know who's going to win that game right now. I think the Ravens are a much better team than Kansas City. I think they're better than the Buffalo Bills. But the Ravens have still let 2 slip away, especially week 1. That should have never happened. And right now, the only team that they've beaten is the Cleveland Browns. Now, after the Cleveland Browns beat the Green Bay Packers, that looks like, oh, that's still a good victory. But all I'm saying is this. I said all of that to say this. We can't really know what a team really is about until we get somewhere around week 9, at least, before we start to ask who's the contender, who's the pretender. And even then, we still won't really know for certain until they get to the playoffs, you know? And those teams that end up being one and done, but they won 11, 12 games. You'll find out who's real. And this is why I said don't overreact when Green Bay beat Detroit. Look at Detroit now. And I said don't overreact to the Green Bay Packers. Yes, the defense is stifling, but the offense hasn't beat anybody yet. Look what they did against a good defense against the Cleveland Browns. 10 points. Not enough. Didn't cut it. They lost. So again, the Packers are 2-1. The Lions are 2-1. Green Bay still stands at the top of the North because they have the head-to-head victory. But again, it's just 3 weeks. But don't tell me anything about how the Lions are going to struggle because they don't have their OC and their DC anymore. So what? This team is too stacked. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, the backfield in Detroit. Man, as a 49er fan, I get jealous, even though I love the Lions. And I've told y'all, put some respect on Jared Goff's name. Look what he went into Baltimore and did last night. That backfield makes me jealous. We have Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson Jr. in our backfield, and yet Kyle Shanahan does not use both running backs like the Detroit Lions use David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. The Detroit Lions have scored 90 points in the past 2 games, and I've got an interesting stat for you. And Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson could very well be not better, but right behind those 2 running backs that I just mentioned in Detroit. This is what Kyle Shanahan needs to hear right here. Let me see the stats. This is good. Detroit domination, again, as I said, 90 points scored in the last 2 games. It's the most over a 2-game span since 1962. I would love to know who the hell done that in 1962. The Lions ran all over the Ravens and sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times. I don't think Aaron Glenn could have called a better game. So don't tell me about the coordinators. When you've got a team that's stacked, this is what can happen. Gibbs and Montgomery just had their 11th game last night where each had a rushing touchdown. That's the most by any running back duo in NFL history. The 11th game where both of them had a rushing touchdown. This is not an easy feat, and it's damn near impossible to do. I just said it's the most by a running back duo in NFL history. Kyle Shanahan, if you could see that stat, if you somehow saw this show, the Great Debate Show podcast, with me, Uncle JJ, if you so happen to see this, which I know you won't, this should ring a bell. You should have an epiphany. And that alarm should go off in your head. That clock should start going off to tell you, yeah, I need to use both of my running backs more too. I saw B-Rob with like 2-3 carries tops on Sunday against the Cardinals. And he had 1 good carry out of that. And he had another decent carry near the goal line. And you took him out immediately after each run. Christian McCaffrey is getting way too many touches. He had more receiving yards than rushing yards, meaning that the O-line is atrocious. So why would you let him continue to take that punishment? The 49ers could be something similar to the Lions if they had a play caller that knew what he was doing. I just wanted to add that. It looks like Kyle Shanahan is really going to just run CMC in the ground yet again and then say, oh, no problem. Get well, Christian. Have a good offseason. I've got B-Rob now. And then you're going to run him in the ground. And we very well could not have a running back by the time we get to the playoffs, if we get to the playoffs. The Detroit Lions are a good football team. Montgomery had 12 carries for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Jahmyr Gibbs had 22 carries for 67 yards. And guess what? He had 2 touchdowns too. Now, yeah, Montgomery only had 12 versus Gibbs 22, but you see how he still was able to get 12? I just told you B-Rob had 2 or 3 carries at the most, and I don't think he had 3. That's not going to work. That's not enough. And I just wanted to add that. And why can't we see McCaffrey and B-Rob on the field at the same time? The Lions do it. I didn't see any problem with the OC or the DC last night. 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson. That sounds like a pretty good game plan to me. And Aidan Hutchinson showed you last night why he's one of the better edge rushers, defenders in the game. I've never seen Nick Bosa do that to Lamar Jackson. Cause that much havoc. Disrupt the backfield that much. And I'm not trying to compare, but you see I'm a Niner. And when I see things like this, it makes me feel like, damn, man, why can't my team do that more? I know you all see your teams at times. You're watching other games and you ask yourself, why can't our team do that more? I'm not complaining. We're 3-0, but we could be better. Let's get those running backs on the field at the same time. The Lions just showed you how. It's done. Let's not run Christian McCaffrey in the ground again and say, oh, well, we got another running back right here. No, it's better if you have them both. And what happened to Isaac Guerrero? You really don't trust him as a running back anymore, do you? He doesn't even play him at all. The RB2 doesn't even play, so why would I expect to see the RB3 or whatever Guerrero is on the depth chart these days? Seems like he's just a kickoff returner or punt returner. Anyway, that was a good game for the Detroit Lions, and that was a good win, 38-30. I thought that the Baltimore Ravens would pull that win out just because they're at home, and I'm still not quite sure what the Detroit Lions are about. They lost to Green Bay. They beat the brakes off of the Chicago Bears, who I still don't have a lot of trust in just yet. I can't trust the Bears just yet, not even after what they did to the Cowboys on Sunday. But now I know the Detroit Lions are everything that I said they would be. The Detroit Lions. They're not going anywhere. Now, that Super Bowl window is not going to be open forever, don't get me wrong, but they're not going anywhere. Okay. In other football news, do I have any other football news? CeeDee Lamb, did I talk about CeeDee Lamb? He has a high ankle sprain, and really don't know how long he's going to be out. Their guard, Tyler Booker, is out 4 to 6 weeks. This is the Dallas Cowboys starting offensive guard. He's got a high ankle sprain as well. CeeDee Lamb could land on IR. Jerry Jones says the wide receiver's ankle injury could keep him out at least 4 weeks. The Cowboys season is over with, if that's the case, for sure. And Jerry Jones said no tribute video for Micah Parsons this Sunday as they host Micah Parsons and his Green Bay Packers. Jerry says it's not appropriate for Micah to receive honor during Week 4 return, according to DLLS. I agree with Jerry. An honor for what? He didn't play 10, 12 years and bring a championship to the Dallas Cowboys. He played for 3 or 4 years. He was available half the time, and he was inconsistent for that time. Is he good when he's good? Yes. But only in one category, and that's rushing the passer. And might I add, he does that better than Nick Bosa too. As you can tell from what I'm saying from my comments, I'm not losing any sleep over losing Nick Bosa. I think the 49ers are going to make a trade, but I think they'll get closer to the Week 9 deadline before they do so, when it's more of a smoke fire, when everybody just have to just sell, for anything. We'll take whatever you give us, versus right now, where they would charge an arm and a leg because they know we're desperate. So the Niners are going to have to, be patient and not show any desperation in order to get what they want at a cheaper price, or should I say getting their best bang for buck. Okay, Rich Paul made a quote on LeBron James' future. He said, the Clutch Sports CEO said he wants fans to appreciate LeBron heading into year 23. Who cares? This is his way of trying to let you think that LeBron may retire after this season. And I could give a damn if he does or doesn't. I hope he does, because I just got LeBron James fatigue right about now. And yes, his son is a Nepo baby. I've never said he wasn't. I just don't like how people like to throw in my face that Arch Manning isn't. And it's certainly looking like he is. Speaking of Nepo babies, Bruce Pearl, the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, has stepped down and retired. Let me see if I can find that. Bear with me. He's retired, and man, I can't find it now. I can never find nothing when I'm looking for it. Yo, here it is. Bruce Pearl expected to retire as the men's basketball coach at Auburn, with his son, Steven, to take over, according to Barzello Thamel. Bruce Pearl expected to retire, and his son, Steven, will take over. Talk about Nepo babies. If y'all still want to talk about that, what do you call this? Okay, and the Phoenix Suns hire Steve Nash. Again, the two-time MVP is returning to the organization as a senior advisor. What a way to keep these people on the payroll, huh? Kenny Moore, likely out for weeks. The Colts Pro Bowl DB has a calf injury and is expected to miss time. And I think that may be all I have as far as the sports goes. I got some wrestling information that I want to give you, though, for a second. The Giants also evaluating a quarterback change. It's about time, Brian Dable. Are you trying to get fired or what? Brian Dable says everything is on the table for week 4. I can tell you exactly what that means. He's not going to tell you Jackson starting just yet. But by the time we get to Friday, Saturday, we will be knowing that he's going to make a switch at quarterback. And don't be surprised if the Cincinnati Bengals make a phone call for Russell Wilson, because his services will no longer be needed with the Giants. He is a bridge quarterback now. It is what it is. The Bengals could call for Russell Wilson. 49er fans, brace yourself. The Bengals could call Mac Jones. I mean, they could call the 49ers from Mac Jones. He's had 2 good starts. He's 2-0 in those starts. And he's did it with less. He hadn't had much. You think he wouldn't do all right with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Gesicki? I'm not saying the 49ers will pull that trigger, because we don't know what the health of Brock Purdy is right now. Excuse me. There's signs that he could come back as early as this Sunday against Jacksonville. But the 49ers would probably like to hold on to Mac Jones just in case Brock Purdy is not 100%, or just in case Purdy comes back at 60, 75%, gets hurt again, and you've got no one to go to. Because that Martinez guy, whoever the hell he is, he ain't ready to play no football. So, yeah, I don't think the Niners would take that call. I'm sure they will reject it, but it depends on what the Bengals offer. They're 2-1. They just got their ass kicked with Browning, and they don't really have a lot more in-house to turn to. So just look out for that. But I think Russell Wilson to Cincinnati would probably be the favorite. And I told you last night during the Raw post-show stream and the Monday Night Football halftime report that I was doing last night, I'll let you know on TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on TikTok and all other social media platforms. Fred VanVleet has suffered a torn ACL. Yesterday was torn ACL day, I guess. Nick Bosa's out for the season for the same thing. And in the NBA, Fred VanVleet has a torn ACL, potentially ending his season. He signed a 2-year, $50 million extension back in July or June. And now he's done. That's a huge blow for the Houston Rockets because, well, they were going to bring in Chris Paul, which I wanted to bring some, some depth to that backcourt. But now Chris Paul is signed with the Clippers and Fred VanVleet has gotten hurt. He was the reason why they didn't bring in Chris Paul. I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of a blow right there. We'll see what the Rockets do to try to replace Van Vliet. That's a huge blow, though. Whoever they bring in, I'm sure he won't be as productive when it comes to scoring as Van Vliet can do when he needs to do it. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, and KD said he blocked the Warriors trade. Kevin Durant confirmed reports about vetoing a deal to his former team last season, right before the trade deadline. I don't really care about that, but he doesn't want to go back to the Warriors. Okay, cool. And you'll never win another championship without being a Warrior as well. Speaking of the Warriors, Seth Curry is likely to join the Dubs. Dub City. Strong expectation league-wide that the Warriors will sign Steph's brother, Seth Curry. That's according to Stein over at Bleacher Report and NBA. All right, I think that is it now for the sports news. Again, another Derrick Henry fumble causes the Ravens a victory, and the Lions capitalize on the Ravens' mistakes. And I talked about Raw last night. Jey Uso was eyeing Cody Rhodes' title. Could the heel turn really take place? Asuka turns on Io Sky last night. I gave you that full recap. If you missed that content, please check it out. It's going on right now. It's on the YouTube channel under the live section. A lot of content under the live section and under the videos, the regular uploads like this one is today. I hope I can get some views, even though this is not a live stream. Okay. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the football and the basketball news. The NBA, I think they're about to go to training camp here pretty soon. And one more thing about the Dubs. What's going on with them in Kuminga? It says that the Dubs Kuminga concerns. The Dubs have Kuminga concerns. The Warriors unsure about Jonathan Kuminga's fit with their healthy roster, according to ESPN. Just trade the dude already or release the brother. Is there something going on and why they can't release him? I'm not sure. But I'm tired of hearing about this saga, this soap opera that's been going on all off season. The Kings are trying to get him, and I think there was another team trying to get him, but nothing has happened yet, all because of the length or the money on the contract or something. I don't know. It's got to be some smoke, some heat or something going on between Steve Kerr and Kuminga, or the front office and Kuminga, or something. Because he just doesn't play enough, and when they call on him, he actually plays all right. I don't get it. Okay, let's get to some wrestling news, and I'm going to wrap this baby up. Oh, and tomorrow we'll talk about, if I do an episode tomorrow, I want to ask you all. Now, I'll ask you now, you can leave it in the comments. Which team that has gotten off to a slow start do you think their season is in jeopardy right now? You got the Houston Texans, who are 0-3, surprisingly. You've got, we know the Jets and the Titans. Their season is pretty much over. But the Texans is a surprise to some. Which team has gotten off to a slow start where you think their season may be in jeopardy? The Ravens are now 1-2. The Chiefs are 1-2. And they play each other on Sunday. Somebody more than likely is going to be 1-3 after that game, unless it's a tie. So which one of these teams that are getting out to these slow? The Denver Broncos are 1-2. Which one of these teams that have gotten out to a slow start do you think their season is in jeopardy? And I guess we could throw the Bears in there too, because a lot of people still had high hopes for the Bears, even though I really didn't. They can still come through here and pull this through, but they're 1-2. Okay. Now, finally, to some wrestling news. Here we go. Let's see here. Where was it at? Okay. Somebody said, according to Fightful Select, somebody said that they were at All Out in Toronto last night. They said, I was in Toronto last night. I had bought tickets in section 107, right behind the hard cam. After that show started, an AEW employee came to our section and asked for 15 people to follow him. He took us around the area to the section 119 where the hard cam points. I was sitting beside an employee of Scotia Bank Arena who informed us that apparently WWE had bought tickets in that section to make it look empty on the pay-per-view. Wow. The WWE being extra petty now. And they keep telling dirt sheets that they are not worried about AEW, yet they continue to counter program all of their pay-per-views. This is a very, very, very vindictive move here. I can't say that it didn't make me laugh a little bit, though, when I read it. Y'all, if y'all are hip-hop heads, you would know about 50 Cent and Ja Rule. And I'm going somewhere with it. Trust me, I'll be brief. 50 Cent and Ja Rule had a major beef in hip-hop 20 years ago. A little over 25 years ago is when it started. 50 broke into the industry around 02, 03. Ja Rule was the hottest thing in hip-hop at the time, whether you want to call it R&B and hip-hop or whatever. He was moving units. Then 50 came with G-Unit, and it was a wrap. But their beef was so bad. They had an altercation. There was a shooting, there was a stabbing, there was a fighting. All kind of incidents happened on several different occasions between the two rappers and their entourages. I say all of that to say this. It got so bad to a point to where even though the beef had kind of settled, the smoke had kind of cleared, 50 Cent admitted to one time purchasing tickets to a Ja Rule's concert and bought up the first couple of rows. Maybe the first 5 to 10 rows. To make it look like nobody gave a damn about Ja Rule because they wouldn't bother to buy front row seats. And Ja Rule has admitted that, yeah, he remembers some of those shows and he thought that he was slipping. He thought that he had fell off. And it was just 50 messing with him. Just like the WWE is doing to AEW. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments. The AEW people, they caught wind to it though. And they had those people removed. So they wanted to have them on the hard cam instead of making it look like, hey, there's nobody here. These seats are empty. And they moved people from one section to another to get those people on the hard cam to fill those empty seats that the WWE might have purchased, allegedly. This is according to Fightful Select. In other wrestling news, this stuff, I'll tell you, man. Tony Khan, at some point, you got to fight back, man. At some point, you just got to fight back. Whether you miss or not, whether you get knocked out or not, you got to start swinging, brother. And I mean, I'm not a fan of AEW anymore these days, but AEW fans swear they're putting on a good show. I'm not sure about that. Every time I try to check it out, I'm not really impressed, and I don't know who the people are. But if they're doing more stories than the WWE, then, man, why not punch back? Okay, in other news, MVP said that he has no respect for Triple H. Yeah, that's right. During a recent appearance on TMZ Inside the Ring, MVP was directly asked about his past remarks, where he said he had zero respect for the WWE Chief Content Officer. Instead of softening his stance, MVP stood firm and told the host that, look, he'll be telling the full story soon, but only on his terms. I think he's going to be starting a podcast or something like that, and I don't blame him for wanting to save the info for his own platform. But yeah, he did let it be clear that he declined to dive in on air, but made it crystal clear that he stands by every word. He said, I'm going to address that on my platform, marking out with MVP and Dwayne Sees. He said, but I stand by those words. I have zero respect for him personally or professionally. Now, some of the dirt sheets are leaving out some things that MVP said. And he said, once he reveals the reasons, everybody will say, oh, I understand then. And he said a lot of it had to do with the way the Hurt Business was treated when Triple H took over, the treatment that he didn't like or lack of respect that he thought Triple H had for Bobby Lashley and so forward. And I think he's going to really break that down and he'll say a lot more about it at a later time. But he does say it was a difference between how they were booked when Triple H took over versus when they were under Vince McMahon. Bobby Lashley was a 2-time champion, I believe, under Vince McMahon. He couldn't even hardly make the mid-card when Triple H took over. So take that with a grain of salt or whatever, but yeah. And more WWE news. I said it last night, but I want to say it one more time. Cody Rhodes wanted to lose the WWE Championship to Drew McIntyre Saturday at WrestlePalooza. Yes, that's correct. According to Body Slam, sources indicate to Body Slam that as of Saturday morning, okay, I'm reading another one now. Hold up. Let me go back to the other one. Yeah, this would have set up Cody to be chasing the title. It was supposed to be, hey, how about Randy Orton interferes for Drew McIntyre and accidentally causes me my title. Drew McIntyre becomes the new WWE champion. Cody Rhodes goes on that chase. And then they do it again. And as Cody tries to win that belt back, either he wins the title back or before he gets to do that, Randy Orton makes the heel turn on Cody. Now we've got Cody, Orton. You don't really need the WWE Championship involved in that feud. And McIntyre can continue to have about a 3-4 month title run. Just as I predicted, that would have been perfect. I called it. So I wasn't wrong after all. Who came up and tore all the paper up and said, nah, scrap it. Cody wins. And also, sources indicate to Body Slam that as of Saturday morning, John Cena was scheduled to defeat Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza. Sources also indicate that both Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre pitched Randy Orton, accidentally costing Rhodes the Undisputed Championship, as I just said. Who came in and said, nah, we're going to let Brock win now? And I heard that happened just hours before WrestlePalooza kicked off. And ESPN did step in and say they wanted a WWE Championship match to be the main event. So I think they did go for Brock and Cena to be the main event. And ESPN stepped in and said, no, let it be a championship match. And when you're paying $1.5 billion to air these PLEs, you definitely get final word and you're the final boss. So they changed it. They also graded ESPN WrestlePalooza as a C. That was the final grade, a C. That's not good. WWE needs to do better. But again, the WrestlePalooza rumors are Cena was planned to beat Brock and Drew was scheduled to be the champion in the main event. All right. I think that's about it right now. If the postseason started today in the MLB, Major League Baseball, the Yankees and the Red Sox would play right now at seeds 4 and 5. The Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians, my bad. They would be playing each other right now at the 3rd and the 6th seed. And number 1 Toronto Blue Jays would play the number 2 Seattle Mariners. On the NL side, you'd have the 4 Cubs against the 5 Padres. You'd have the number 3 Dodgers against the number 6 Cincinnati Reds. And number 1 Milwaukee would play number 2 Philadelphia Phillies. That's if the postseason started today. Then again, maybe that's exactly how it is going to start. I don't know. I'll get back with you on that. But that's all the news that I have. I hope you all enjoyed. One more thing when it comes to the WWE, I'm sorry. And also, they're saying that Brock and Cena, that may be done. I know a lot of us thought after the squash or the domination of Brock Lesnar over John Cena that they would run it back at Crown Jewel. But they're not, according to some sources. And look, man, not gonna lie, they missed. They really did miss on that. That feud did not hit. And they just really did a reenactment from 2013, 2014? They had the opportunity to reignite the classic rivalry, but it really feels like they didn't even try. You had Brock Lesnar showing up and no Cena, and you had Cena showing up for a few weeks before Brock even came back on television. This really sucked. And we got all of that just to get to the PLE, and they did it all wrong, and Cena didn't win. Makes no sense at all. And the final news that I have is Crown Jewel in Perth, Saturday, October 11th. And in America, that's going to be at 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific. Wow. I don't remember those shows being that early. I thought it was like at least a noon start. But yeah, Saturday, October 11th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific time. Crown Jewel in Perth. On ESPN in the United States and Netflix internationally, there's a picture that has came out. The logo and everything has came out for Crown Jewel Perth. And I'm going to show that to you if you can see it. That is Roman Reigns. That is in that shot. Yes, Roman Reigns at the top of that headshot. So that means that he is going to be a Crown Jewel. And if that's the case, then that means with only, 3 weeks until Crown Jewel? The road kicked off last night on Raw. Jey Uso is still looking like he's about to become a heel. Acting like Roman Reigns in the peak of his heel turn. Are we about to see Roman Reigns show back up? And if so, who's his next opponent going to be? Will it be Braun Breaker? because, I mean, those guys did put him out of action again. Roman Reigns wrapped up the movie stuff on yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or today. No, tomorrow, September 24th is the last day that Roman Reigns will be filming his part of the Street Fighters. Yeah, I think it was September 2nd through September 24th. That's tomorrow on a Wednesday. He could be back as early as Monday Night Raw, because I don't think he's on SmackDown anymore either. They don't give a damn about USA. They're just trying to appease Netflix. And they're still losing viewers week by week. You wonder why? Because it's repetitive BS every single Monday night for the most part. We get the same matches for 2-3 months in a row. And that's it. Anyway, let's see what they do with Roman Reigns. It's probably Roman and Braun Breaker, more than likely. I don't see him in another tag team match with Big Jim or LA Knight or something like that. It could be, but I doubt it. I don't know. But he's got to get his lick back because they put him on the shelf for another month or so, for another couple of weeks. So let's see what happens. That's all I've got, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Great Debate Show with your favorite Uncle JJ. Until we yeet again, y'all be safe. Peace. And have a terrific Tuesday.
Had to cut, dog. I had some bras, let's go ride. That was 9-9. Me and my girls used to blow by. I stayed in the whole thighs. If it's beef, when I was in them streets, I was shooting like Kobe in 05.